Hi, this is Bob Vilsoy. When I'm with Ryan Zimmerman here, we are with Elk Grove TV, and we have a match here now between Elk Grove Grenadiers and the Huskies from Hersey. Huskies are 4-11 on the year so far, and the Grenadiers are winless, 0-13. So this might be an uphill battle for the Grenadiers. And Ryan, we watched them in the warm-ups. Hersey was slamming the ball, putting craters on the bottom of the gym floor here in the Elk Grove Gymnasium. And I got to say, we didn't see that from the Grenadiers. So they played once this year so far. Grenadiers lost 15-25, 9-25. That's a pretty big, wide margin on the score. So it should be a one-sided game today, I'm afraid.
Well, and for these two teams, the Grenadiers of Elk Grove and the Huskies from Hersey, these are the types of games that you need to just build up that experience ahead of the regional playoffs coming up in just a couple weeks' time. These are the matches where you try to figure out what works and what doesn't, so come playoff time, you're the best version of your team that you can be.
No doubt. And but watching those Huskies hit from the corners, from the outside, the temptation to just set everything out to the outside hitters. They are tall, strong, high jumping players, and that ball's landing at the 10-foot line. So this is going to be an uphill battle here.
Both teams have broken out of their huddles and have made their way to the court. And just a few moments before this match kicks off, we'll give you the starting lineups, beginning with the visiting Hersey Huskies. Taking the court to start off the first set, number 3, Chris Chaco. Number 4, Lucas Irwin. Number 6, Drew Zagorski. Number 12, Michael Siemens. Number 8, Alex Saluski, and
number 15, who's not on our roster. Go figure.
We do not have number 15, unfortunately. We'll try and figure out that name as the match goes by. As for the Elk Grove Grenadiers, taking the floor to start off the first set, it's Garrick Valera, number 13, Connor Mahoney, number 1, Michael Kwasny, number 22, Alex Katsouris, number 26, Brian Roble, number 20, and Makito Higashiomori, number 15.
That was well done.
You know, I've had a lot of practice with this. You learn how to pronounce names as you go on and do different sports. The referee blows his whistle. Chris Chaco to serve for the Huskies, and we are underway. A low serve gets dug out from underneath the net. Whistle goes.
Middle hitter for
Elk
Hersey
Grove
touched the net. He tried to jump with the setter. You never want to jump with the setter. Let the setter do his thing, set the ball to where it's going to go, and then go block the player who gets set. So it was a mistake by Hersey.
An early mistake for the Huskies. Grenadiers take serve, barely gets over the net, and sends Nate Meyer to the floor. It's up in the air, tipped over the net, tried to dink, but right to Chris Chaco, set up at the net. No, a kill attempt from Nate Meyer, and it goes down.
Same thing, they're error prone. So the first pass wasn't a great pass on the serve from the Elk Grove server, and then hit the ball out of bounds, our no-name number 15. Got to just minimize the mistake. So Hersey controlling their own destiny, but unfortunately the wrong direction.
Elk Grove to serve once again, and it's the libero Lucas Irwin digging it out. Another attempt from Nate Meyer, and again, he hits it long.
Yep, off the court. They got to get some topspin on the ball. He's sitting under it and to the side, and there's no topspin, so the ball is just flying. Now, this is nothing more than warm-ups. The teams need to warm up a little bit better, a little bit harder, get a little bit more sweat, and then I think they'll just be fine.
And not just that, I think it just might be a case of getting really amped up in the early goings and wanting to make a play early as Elk Grove blocks a kill attempt at the net to make it 4-0 here in this first set.
Right. Some chinks that they're not like 11-4 with what appears to be some pretty good talent. But that ball was just a couple inches from being a kill. It was a block. You know, you hit it just a little bit to the side, you tool the blocker, and then you win the point.
Higashiomori, the serve to get us underway, hits the net, but easily played. Chris Chaco right at the net. Meyer once again, and Mahoney digs it out. A kill attempt hits a couple Huskies on the way through and lands out of bounds. 5-0.
Yep, the
Grenadiers early.
Very fortunate to tool the block on that double blocker. Hersey did everything right. Good solid double block right in front. And the ball just happened to go the other way. And Elk Grove is very fortunate with a 5-0 lead. Let's see if they can keep that up the rest of this game.
Higashiomori, yet another serve. Didn't get too much distance on it, but it sets up nicely for Drew Zagorski. And finally, he sends Elk Grove scrambling. The Huskies are on the board, and they reclaim their serve.
And that's a big hit. Look for more from him this game. We're going to write him down for a kill already and see if we can track how many he gets by the end of this match.
Serve sails a bit on Nate Meyer, and just like that, Elk Grove gets it right back. They're out to a 6-1 lead already as they go through their opening rotation. Brian Roble off the court, Caden Seibert to replace him and assume serve.
So Meyer's got 2 swings and 2 volleyballs off the court. That's not going to get it done. You got to get that volleyball on the court if you want to win.
Seibert gets us back underway as Irwin goes to a knee to
and a double hit on
serve.
the setter, another mistake from Hersey. They're just like having a blowout here in the first game.
And it's in stark contrast to what we were seeing during warm-ups, Bob. You thought they were really sharp.
Yeah, I still think it'll change in this game. They'll get the momentum back. But, yeah, they're making boo-boos after boo-boos, finding different ways to lose points.
Hopefully something like that,
yeah, but that's
serve without power, can maybe give them a bit of the tallest players on this team just gets up over the net. Too easy when you're just right there having to hit the ball down, and Hersey's on the board once again.
That's the one you could probably set 25 times and win the game. Nobody was going to be able to stop those swings.
Irwin yet another serve at the net. Kwasny, and he's denied. Too easy for Drew Zagorski.
And suddenly that 1-7 lead is only 4-7.
This is where we start to see the skill gap perhaps rear its ugly head as Hersey, I think they're figuring it out.
Well, Hersey blocked that one out of bounds. That was another mistake, we'll say. When you dunk it, you have to dunk it toward the court, not dunk it away from the court. So I think he was hoping to touch the hitter's hands, and the Grenadiers hitter just didn't jump. Not very high, at least. So 8-4. It's only down 4. It's still early.
8-4 for the host Elk Grove Grenadiers. Powerful serve, had a bit of backspin on it. As now another kill attempt. Michael Siemens couldn't get it across, but Elk Grove recovers the point.
Yeah, Valera got that swing on the outside. Not real tall, right, but jumps real high and hit the tops of the Hersey blockers now. If Elk Grove can pull that off a lot, that's an unstoppable hit. Off the tops of the hands into the rafters. But the question is, can Elk Grove set that up enough?
Still a lot of time left in this game as another service error.
Yeah, I like the aggressiveness on the serve, though. Okay, so it was a jump serve, hit it hard, went into the net, but you're not going to beat anybody by soft serves. You're going to have to hit the serves harder. And he did, but unfortunately into the bottom of the net. And now back to just a 4-point lead.
Give him credit, though. Like you said, you can't win if you don't put some power on the serve. He just made a mistake trying to serve the correct way. As this time...
Now this time Hersey gets a little bit of luck. The ball hits the top of the net and rolled over. But same thing on the hits. Elk Grove cannot just tip the ball or tap the ball over the net. Hersey's going to dig every one of those. And when you have somebody like Zagorski on the outside, it's going to go down your throat. You have to hit to win, just like Valera did on that one swing.
New substitution. Andrew Hamilton serves and flexes on the Grenadiers right there.
And another shanked serve received from Elk Grove. Now it's only a 2-point game. So Hersey's getting on their roll here.
Harrison right behind the back line puts a little too much power on it, though, and that gets Elk Grove's lead back up to 3. It's 10-7 here in this first set.
My fault for jinxing them on that serve.
I think one of Elk Grove's players may have just arrived late. Maybe a JV player just busting out of the locker room and into the stands.
It looks like he's got a pretty sweaty shirt on, so perhaps he played. Or maybe he played JV and now he's suiting up for varsity.
It doesn't look like that now that he's in the stands cheering the Grenadiers on.
Good point.
And now a Drew Zagorski serve.
Now this gets frustrating. Zagorski hit it out of bounds, but it was touched on the way out by an Elk Grove blocker, and the referees just didn't see it.
Here
we've got an up ref and a down ref, and we've got no line judges. Normally line judges have a better look at that, but that was just a flat-out missed call. And, of course, karma on the volleyball goes out of bounds on the Elk Grove serve, and Hersey gets it back.
There's a saying in basketball that perfectly describes moments like this: ball don't lie.
That's right. The ball never lies.
I guess you could apply that to volleyball, too. I've just really seen it so many times in basketball that I just only apply it to that. Case in point right there. This time it's Nate Meyer getting on the action with yet another kill.
Yeah, he hit one in there. Now, what I liked about that swing is he was not aiming for the court. He was aiming for the blocker's hands. So that's the kind of hitter that can, if you get, I don't want to say lucky because you're doing that on purpose, but you can do that against good teams and nobody can stop you. And you can do that against bad teams. If you just happen to miss the block, you're going to get beat by bad teams. But that's how you beat a good team, by tooling the blocker.
Well, it looked like Elk Grove may have gotten away with a handle there as point continues. Hamilton at the net, sets up Irwin. Couldn't really do anything about it, and Elk Grove gets the point after a mishandle.
Well, the setter went under the net on that play. Unfortunately, the pass was too tight, so he jumped up and landed under the net, so that point goes to Elk Grove. So Hersey's catching up, but slower than I thought it was going to be. They were down 6, 7-1. Now they're down 3, 12-9.
Serve on the far side from Dev Patel. Elk Grove right at the net.
That was a good dig.
Set up right there for Michael Siemens, but his swing is returned momentarily. Elk Grove just couldn't dig it out of the far side, and it's 12-10. Hersey back within 2.
Yeah, that was Siemens on the 31. So it's a middle hit halfway between the middle of the court and the left side. That's called the 31. It's a pretty good play and tough to stop for Elk Grove. Easy point.
Hersey makes a couple substitutions. New entrant Jared Rigg to serve. Elk Grove and Hersey right at the net. And it's a Luigi Geraci swing that gets Elk Grove back up to 3. It's 13-10.
Yeah, Saluski, it went off of his hands, the middle blocker for Hersey, and unfortunately just didn't penetrate enough, and the ball landed on the Hersey side. Sometimes the ball just lands in a seam or in a spot you just can't get. So it was just a very unfortunate block.
Couple teams switching out their rotations as it's now Jairo Mata to serve for Elk Grove. 13-10 here in the first set. The Grenadiers leading the Huskies. Back underway, right to the back line as Zagorski digs it out. It's Meyer with the swing and a little too long.
Yeah, a little technical thing on him. He's jumping, he's getting a good approach, but then jumps backwards, so he's leaning backwards, therefore up just a bit, and that's why he's not getting over the ball, and he's over-hitting it out of bounds. He has to feel when it's behind his head. He has to take something off the swing or jump more forward and more straight up and down.
And those are those little things that can really influence who wins and who loses, especially in what we've seen to be a tight game so far. There's Hersey once again at the net. Connor Krebs' hit return. Referee blows his whistle.
Yeah,
and an illegal hit.
Yeah, I don't like the call. That was a double hit on the Elk Grove setter. You just don't need to call that. It should be like basketball where you get one double hit call per year, and, one lift call per carry. In basketball, carrying the ball, one of those calls per year. Here's a double hit on Elk Grove. It just stops the rally unnecessarily. But I really like Krebs, the lefty, playing right side, left-handed swinger, and he's putting it into a good spot behind the setter on the Elk Grove side. So I'd like to see a little bit more right side setting there to Krebs.
Chaco to serve, an easy return for Elk Grove. They set up for a dink. Not enough on it for Michael Kwasny. This time it's Nick Ortman, number 15 for Hersey. This time getting a kill within the lines.
Yeah, it's better to hit it in. That's like the Captain Obvious call of the day. When you're coaching players, hit it in. It's like shooting a puck on net. It doesn't do you any good to hit it wide unless you're hoping and expecting to tip in. Otherwise, you got to shoot it on net. Here in volleyball, there's 900 square feet over on the other side of the net. Every hit should be in. There is a level of, like for example, in Meyer's hit when he was aiming for the hands instead of the court. You can do that, but
almost a miscommunication from Elk Grove there. They're able to salvage the point, but now Hersey on the attack. Meyer, an excellent dig from Mahoney, but a little miscommunication on the Elk Grove side gives Hersey a point.
Yeah, it was an overpass, and then Saluski just put it away. So it was a good hit, it was a good dig, but unfortunately you got to get under the ball to bring it up, not over the net. So the overpass resulted in a Hersey kill.
Hersey back within 1 point, and the lift call ties things up.
Yeah, that's another double hit call on the setter. 2 hand set calls now in the Elk Grove setter. Now it's a 14-14 tie. So Hersey finally tied the score up. Now the question is how many more points will Elk Grove get?
We saw Hersey make quite a few mistakes in the early goings in set number 1. Now it's Elk Grove Village filling their share, and it's gifted Hersey the lead right back following that Nate Meyer kill.
Yeah, what Elk Grove needs.
Timeout Elk Grove Village has to regroup.
Yeah, Elk Grove, they need some punch. Right now, Hersey is totally dictating the game. If Hersey messes the point up, Elk Grove wins the point. If Hersey handles it well, then Hersey gets the point. Right now, only one kill from Elk Grove was really because of what Elk Grove did, and that was Valera's hit early on when he hit the tops of the Hersey block. So right now, Hersey's having their way with Elk Grove.
And a well-taken timeout from Elk Grove High School head coach Dan Winholz. This is the time where you really need to settle your team down. Hersey has all the momentum, and you have to do whatever you can to regroup your team mentally.
Well, this goes back to what could he possibly say in this timeout? I mean, play better? I mean, he's outgunned on this line. So what can he do? Pass better, control it better, make cleaner sets, tool the block, hit it harder, no tips, don't miss your serves.
This has to be one of those timeouts where it's just about giving your team a mental break.
It's probably about what it was. I mean, with Elk Grove having such a lead, 7-1, and Hersey tying it up finally at 14-14, now Hersey up by 1. That's probably a very called call on your part, a mental break.
It's one of those things that transcends across all sports, really just doing what you can to get momentum back on your side is case in point. It almost resulted in a set play that gave Elk Grove the point. It's just unfortunate for the Grenadiers that Ortman found some space on the right side to get a kill across.
Yeah, number 15, their no-name jersey there to tool the block.
I think there may have just been a typo in the lineup. I'm looking on their bench. There's no 14. I'm guessing that's who 15 is, Ortman.
Oh, that would make sense. A typo on the roster.
Yeah.
And a big block in the middle. Saluski finally got that block. So another point for Hersey.
As reliable as Max Preps can be. And believe me, it is a very reliable website. You know, not everything can be 100% perfect. See, what I really like is Max Preps to get some pronunciation guides as well. As much as I'd like to pronounce these names correctly.
Now, there was a good swing from Elk Grove, right? And unfortunately for Hersey, they did not close that block. So the spike, the attack attempt went right in between the two blockers, tooled them both, and it's real hard to dig a ball that gets deflected. So the way that Hersey has to stop that point from happening in the future, of course, is closing the block. So the middle hitter had to, which was Saluski, had to close the block next to Ortman.
After that big point, Makito Higashiyomori and Luigi Geraci checked back in as Higashiyomori's serve sails well short. And just after a huge momentum point for the Grenadiers, they give it right back. It's 18-15 Huskies.
That's Elk Grove's third missed serve by my notes.
It's those little things. Sometimes, like I said earlier, it's what costs you games, those unforced errors.
Oh, here's one coming our way.
Opportunity as the ball hits off the table. Brandon Piotrowski just hit it a little too long, and Hersey inches closer to a first set win.
Meyer with a float serve, jump float.
Elk Grove at the net. Kwasny hit it off of Alex Saluski, and the Grenadiers claw back within 3.
Now, if I'm Elk Grove, I would set him up more. Tall, good leaper, left-handed, although he's playing middle. I would want him on the right side. Generally, you put lefties on the right side, but maybe they don't have another middle that they can put there. But that would be one of the first things I think I would change on Elk Grove. Put him on the right side, not in the middle.
Play back underway. Meyer gets it off the floor.
Unless he's ambidextrous, and he just was set on that side and used his left hand. Some hitters are clever that way. By my notes, Nate Meyer has 4 kills already in this game.
He's had his handprints all over this first set. Him, really, and Drew Zagorski have really done a number in the front lines.
Yeah, well, between the two of them, they've got 6 kills, 6 of the Hersey 9 kills.
Elk Grove back with the ball on their side. Ball fell to Mahoney, the setter, the libero. And his third hit sails well long.
Yeah, and again, that kind of play won't work. You got to hit it. They were going for the deep corner. Had it been in, it would have been hustle, but Hersey would have got that up.
At the very least, it would have set them back and had to play from the back, but that's a moot point. A spike attempt from the net. Brandon Piotrowski got absolutely bodied. Alex Saluski got his arms in the way, and Hersey has their biggest lead of this first set, 22-16.
Yeah, Siemens and Ortman on the block. The problem was the set wasn't out by the antenna at all, so he was trap set. Unfortunately, he's hitting into a huge block.
Mahoney just gets forced to hit it over, and he finds some extra court on the far left side. excellent placement from the libero, and it's 22-17 Huskies.
Yeah, and that's something you can do time and time again. He tried it on the one side, it went out. Darn it, I'm going to try it again on the other, and it worked this time.
If at first it doesn't succeed.
Right. But that's not going to be long-term success.
That doesn't qualify as a kill, does it?
Yes.
Oh, it does.
Yeah.
It's one of the few kills you'll see a libero get all season. At the far side, Valera, his kill attempt goes straight into the net.
Yeah, he's got to slam it. He was trying to get cute with the ball and roll it over the net as Elk Grove calls timeout. But he got, the ball didn't even reach the net just about. You have to go up and slam it. You're looking to hit the ball off the hands into the rafters. We kind of joke when women play versus men play, the women are hitting the ball and they're not as much over the net as the men are, right? So it's more of a serve and volley kind of a game, a little bit like tennis in a way. Whereas with the men, they get so much strength and so much higher over the net. It becomes a bump it, get it or pass it, right? Get it to the setter, set tight to the net, and then break the fingers on the smash.
It's almost formulaic in a sense.
Yeah. So 23-17. So Hersey turned a 6-point deficit into a 6-point lead. Now that means they were able to score 12 more points than Elk Grove did. So now you take that into game 2. Now that both teams, especially Hersey, is being warmed up, I'd look for a big win in game 2 for Hersey, 25-12 or something like that.
That just means, we were talking about this before we went on air, Bob, but Hersey's correcting their mistakes. They were making quite a few earlier, and it gave Elk Grove a bit of a cushion. But now that Hersey's figured them out and straightened up their play, now they're taking a firm stronghold on this first set, and that could continue on into set 2. Yeah,
A, they're warmed up, and B, now they know what Elk Grove has and what they don't have, and they can serve at the weaknesses. It's going to be a real uphill battle for Elk Grove here. Now,
Valera right at the net. He gets the dink to fall this time.
Yeah, it got it to land, but again, that'll work once, maybe twice, but it's not going to be a long-term solution. So Elk Grove, last couple points, that long set into the corner, and then this tip, they got to hit it. They just have to hit it.
Right after that timeout, Jarek Valera, who missed on his previous swing, corrects himself, and now Elk Grove has perhaps a bit of momentum. Dev Patel to serve, and we're back underway. But a fourth service error of the set puts Hersey within 1 point of a first set victory.
Now, I like to look at it this way, too. If those 4 serves were actually in, instead of being 24 points against them, it would be 20 points against them, and then 4 serves would now be on the court.
Zagorski serves right at the net. Geraci hits it a little long, and Hersey takes the first set 25-18 in this Mid-Suburban League Conference match.
So now Elk Grove has to go back and say, okay, what worked and what didn't work? Okay, and what they can say did work was Hersey hit the ball out early, but they can't count on that to continue because it was a warm-up issue with Hersey. All right, then what did work? Well, let's see. The libero hit one deep shot into one corner. That worked. Valera has 2 kills. One was a hit off the top of the block. That worked. One roll shot that went over the block that barely landed, but that worked. After that, the lefty, Kwasny, would have to be where I'd want a lot of my sets to go. Now, again, if I'm Elk Grove, I would put him on the right side, and I'm not saying that Elk Grove can do that because they may not have been practicing with that, but I would put him on the right side and set him a lot and see how it goes.
And this Huskies team, we talked about it, they looked really good in warm-up, and they backed it up with a strong second half to that first set. But throughout this season, they have not been playing up to their potential, you might say. Looking at their schedule, at least within the conference, a loss 2-1 to Buffalo Grove, a loss 2-1 to Prospect, and same score again for Rolling Meadows. And that was to start their season. They've had a 3-6 record, a .333 win percentage. So they've lost double as much as they've won. Granted, we don't have a result from their last match against the Palatine Pirates.
Well, this is another one of these teams. I think they're better in their record, and I think the coach, a very, very good coach, also a women's coach at Prospect, There's a lot of talent on this Huskies team, so she has to put it together. And I think that they're probably running a more diversified offense because it'd be pretty obvious. They could just go to Zagorski every time on the outside, or maybe Meyer on the outside all the time. But they're trying to run a diversified offense, which will be far more difficult for the other teams to defend against. But that takes time to install that kind of an offense over the course of a year. So Hersey's probably taking some losses. Whether you win or lose now in conference doesn't matter. After you lose the first couple of games, now you've lost 6. You need to improve, work on player development, and look out for the tournament at the end. But Huskies have a lot of talent. Putting it together is the trick here.
Of course, in volleyball, like so many other sports, is a game of matchups. And if you just run primarily through your best players early, teams are going to figure that out, and they'll find ways to shut them down. So that diversified offense, like you said, that's the key to winning more matches down the stretch. It's not like tanking in the sense where you intentionally lose your first few games to win the next, but you're just giving yourself that grace period in order to figure out how you can be your best team.
Yeah, exactly. If you have teams all know where the sets are going to go. They set up their double blocks. Your whole goal on offense is to arrange it so you have a one-on-one against the defensive blocker. So that's why you're using the middle. Your middle gets in the air, and if you can set the middle, great. And then the opposing single blocker in the middle tries to stop you. But if the opposing blocker goes up into the air and you fake the middle and go outside, you get a one-on-one on the outside. So if you get good passing, you're trying to isolate your hitters one-on-one, and that's the name of the game here. And that's why a lot of teams will use back row attackers, too, because then you've got 4 or even 5 hitters against the opposing 3 blockers.
Both teams are out of their mid-set breaks, and now Higashiyomori to serve to get set number 2 underway.
I like that serve. It was very aggressive. That's how you got to try to get back in it if you're Elk Grove. No tipping. Stop that.
Right at the net, it's Meyer. It hit Katsioris right off the hand. And Elk Grove takes the opening point. An excellent block.
And now somebody's going to walk away and say, but Bob, they tipped it and they got the point, right?
And there you go. There's luck in all sports.
Yeah, there's negative reinforcement. Hit it.
Higashiyomori this time a lot less on the serve. This time it's like Meyer getting the kill down right in front of Garrick Valera.
Now you didn't see Meyer tip it. Hit it. That's
Meyer just palmed it down with some authority.
Some authority. Yeah, you can still see the crater in the middle of the gym floor there.
I kind of meant some in the sense like he hit it with some, This time it's Drew Zagorski at the net blocking the way that Katsioris did the last time.
Yeah, that's number 8, Saluski, that stopped him in the middle. He's a good blocker. He's got 2 or 3 blocks. I'm not tracking those, but he's got like 2 or 3 solid block kills this game.
Out wide to Katsioris.
Yeah, that's like a high pop-up.
Right to Meyer, and a little confusion on the Elk Grove side gives Hersey another point, 3-1.
Yeah, Zagorski with the kill there. So right now it's the outsides for Hersey. They're just destroying Elk Grove. Can't stop them. And then that with some blocks in the middle from Saluski, and Hersey's on a roll here.
Hersey another serve. Right to the net. This time it's Kwasny, and he forces a Hersey mishit. Grenadiers back within 1.
Well, Roble got the kill. He tooled the double block on the right side. Good
Excuse
hit.
me, it was Roble.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah, it was a good right side attack. Tooled the block, got the point.
Right after the kill, he serves, and he had Zagorski in between. He kind of just stuck his hands out and hoped for the best there.
Yeah, it's an ace in the scorebook for Kwasny. I'm sorry, for Roble.
Okay, now we both did it in the span of about 30 seconds.
Yeah, it doesn't take long, right?
Yeah.
There's that kind of more of a 32 than a 31. So it looks like Saluski just didn't time it quite right. So he's a good blocker, but this is what Hersey needs to do more of, try to figure out how to get the middles involved in their offense. They certainly have a good right side. I like that left-handed right side they've got. But he can only be in the front 3 out of 6 rotations.
Roble to serve again. Zagorski on the outside. Elk Grove sets up in the middle. This time it's Kwasny, and Saluski sends him back. Valera on the left side. Dug out. This time Zagorski back again, and Hersey earns the point.
Yeah, this Zagorski is a tough hitter. I like the way he hits. He doesn't crank it as hard as he can unless he has a perfect shot at it, but he's good at hitting it to locations. So he looks around, sees where the diggers aren't, puts it there.
8 points down in this second set, split evenly amongst Elk Grove High School and Hersey High School. Valera tries to break it open in turn on the Elk Grove side, but his swing sails well wide.
Boy, he's got some hops, though. He'd be a tough beach player. Go find a partner and play beach. He's got some real good hops.
You know, in order to find a partner to play beach volleyball, you'd have to find a beach first. Not exactly in high supply out here in the Chicagoland suburbs.
I don't know where you're from, but Lake Michigan's a lot of volleyballs out there.
Yeah, right on the lake. What other beaches can you think of in the Chicagoland area? I mean, I've driven on Lakeshore Drive during the summer. Everyone's playing beach volleyball.
Yeah.
That's like the only place I've seen it.
Yeah, we got to put Valera on the beach over there.
Get him over, get him coached up. Maybe that helps his footwork with having to play in sand for a couple months.
Well, it helps your passing, too. So we got 5-5 here.
Mahoney, a powerful serve. It sent Meyer back to the back line. A dink from Ortman. Elk Grove resets. Katsiouris at the net. That's blocked. This time Valera the dink, and he found some hardwood.
And it landed right. Again, the set was not anywhere near the antenna, so he basically trap set. If he tried to hit that, he would have been stuffed by the two Hersey blockers instead. So he saw the block and tipped it around it, and it landed. Hersey didn't see the tip coming. Probably should have.
Hersey got caught cheating a bit. They were expecting Valera to put some power behind that swing, but instead he finessed it over the net. Hersey at the net once again. Got over the front line, but not past the second row. Valera over the net. Hersey responds. Ortman ties things up for the Huskies.
Another kill on the right side. What I liked about that rally is I feel like Huskies never really had total control of the ball, so they just kept hitting it in until finally got the kill. If the set's not right where you want it, don't hit it out. Just find a way to put it inbounds with some drama behind it.
Couple rotations for both teams as Hersey gets play restarted. A pass over the net almost found its way in between three Hersey players, but the Huskies able to dig it out. At the net, Krebs. Position 7-6. Hersey has their first lead of this second set. Higashiomori sets up Katsiouris, but right to Meyer. At the front of the net, Krebs hit Valera on the way back and out of play.
Krebs with the kill. I really like left-handed right side. He went down the line, got the touch on the block. It's kind of an easy point, a very repeatable point. The Huskies could continue to do that the whole entire game.
I feel like maybe at the high school level you can earn those first few kills just by virtue of being a lefty. You know, just how many people in this world are right-handed. You just assume it's going to be a right-handed outside hitter. And just those first few, you just get the angle wrong, and it gets you a couple free points.
Well, and Elk Grove hit that into a double block from Zagorski and Michael Siemens on that play. And volleyball's kind of like hockey, right? You have a left side and the right side. You want your hockey stick or you want your hand to be on the inside. So if you're on the left side of the court, you want to be right-handed. And if you're on the right side of the court, you want to be left-handed. So lefties are wonderful to have on the right side of the court. That's why a lot of times you make a left-handed youngster a setter, because they're setting really from the right side of the court.
It sounds like you're setting up your right side and left side defenseman there on the blue line.
Yep.
You want to play with angles, and that's exactly why, well, at least in hockey, the right-handed shot defenseman is one of the most valuable positions because, you know, like every defenseman, the majority of defensemen shoot left in hockey.
Is that true?
I believe so. It's a lot closer to a 50-50 split than you think. It's not
I'm funny because I'm right-handed. I do everything right-handed, but when I grab a hockey stick, for some reason, it just ends up left-handed hockey stick.
Elk Grove out of the timeout. Hersey to serve, a block right at the net. Irwin sets up for Meyer, and his swing sails well long.
That was a back row attack from Meyer. Everybody in the front row was out of position, so it was a smart set to go back to Meyer in the back row, and he just didn't get enough top spin on it and sent it into orbit.
Elk Grove has taken 3 timeouts over the course of this match. They've won the first point after all 3 timeouts.
So we want to say good coaching. Good job, Dan Lindholtz.
I think there's a correlation there for sure. Zagorski at the net. I think he took that last point personally. 10-7 in favor of the visiting Huskies.
Yeah, back one, quick set. That's almost impossible to stop. And Elk Grove probably doesn't see those in practice very often, too, so they're just not equipped to stop that play.
It's one of those hits where Zagorski goes up, and he's just thinking, yeah, I'm not going to miss. Now another block at the net. The combination of Siemens and Myers extends the Hersey lead.
Right. What I really like about on that play is the right side attack was double blocked. So both blockers there, Siemens and Myers, were there. A lot of times teams will just put one blocker up. Nope. If you can block with two, do it.
Short serve, Zagorski almost caught Elk Grove out of position. Katsiouris, or rather Geraci from the left side. His shot sails well long. Hersey's on a nice run here.
Yeah, and as this game goes on, something you notice with Hersey, it's a little thing, right? But they just don't seem to be missing a lot of serves. Until, of course, I jinxed them.
The announcer's jinx is live and well here in Elk Grove.
Yeah, in my case, it would be a coach's jinx. My Harper College players.
You've got the headset on. You can claim it.
My Harper College players claim I do that all the time. You're a good server, plunk right into the bottom of the net.
Hersey right back to work. It's Siemens at the net. Elk Grove with the return. Hersey sets right back up. This time it's Meyer, and it hits off Valera's foot and deadens at the spot.
Nothing you can do on that play. Hersey set it up well, put the ball at the 10-foot line, right at his foot in front of the digger. You can't get any closer to the ball to dig it. Otherwise, it's in your face.
Got some work to do as one of the Hersey players, that's Jared Rigg, has to run over to the broadcast table to pick up the stray volleyball. I can see your instincts set in. See ball, get ball.
Yeah, exactly, except I'm tied to a microphone and can't move.
Grobel at the net. He met a couple of Hersey outside hitters, and the Huskies.
So Huskies
another point. That's 5 in a row for them.
Yeah, and they're getting them different ways now. That was a block. The point before was a kill.
And that's how good teams operate. You find multiple different ways to get the job done. You don't just do it the same way every time. There's another block, and it's Nate Meyer stuffing Geraci at the net.
Yeah, that set was too tight, and the block, of course, was able to reach over and get it very, very easily. An easy block made.
It's those fundamental things. Elk Grove's passing isn't as crisp, and it's giving Hersey that many more free points.
That play got through on the block.
I say that, and then Elk Grove breaks their pointless streak, 15-9.
But you kind of said it earlier, kind of didn't maybe realize it when you said the Hersey being a good team. They do not look like a 4-11 team. This is a good team, I'd say. So maybe all that player development has worked so far this year, and the team is actually learning and playing better now.
You know what they say, it's not always the best team that wins the championship. It's the team that gets hot at the right time. And perhaps Hersey's catching fire right when they need to.
Perhaps. Again, a well-coached team. Laura Gerber. Blocked this time by Elk Grove, but then doesn't cover the deflection.
Elk Grove finally gets it back over the net on the third hit. Irwin, and the set for Meyer, and he finds some open floor.
Now that's a case where I'd like to see a little faster set out to the antenna, but that was still a high set, and Elk Grove didn't get a good double block in front of it.
The Huskies now within 10 points of victory. This match is only 22 minutes old, and Hersey is nearly there.
22 minutes. What did I predict before we started?
I think you predicted a close first set and a bit of a wider second set.
I mean play time. 30 minutes, I think you said?
I don't think you gave me a prediction, but I wouldn't have disagreed with you if you said 30. We may be on pace for even faster than that.
Is it really only 22 minutes?
This match started at 6:30, right? Or was it a little before?
Oh, I don't know exactly what time it started. I didn't pay attention to the wall clock.
Might have been 6:20, 6:30. If it was 6:20, then we broke that 30-minute threshold. But still, it's a quick match. As now Elk Grove makes some substitutions. Luigi Geraci off. Makito Higashiomori back on.
Well, and it's not over yet. Still 16-10. They've got 9 more points to go. Yeah, and Elk Grove could score 15, right?
That's correct.
Then we'd get a 3-set match. That'd be fun to see.
Zagorski, his swing goes a little too long, and Bob, you're certainly right. A rare mistake by the Huskies, and Elk Grove has 2 points won in a row.
Yeah, again, I like that play from the back row. Meyer and Zagorski are both very, very good hitters, and so when you use them out of the back row, you have both of them always in the offense.
Right at the net, Meyer, and that's going to get a couple of groans from the Hersey bench.
Yeah, I like that tandem. They sent the middle blocker up, or middle hitter up. They faked it to him, and then Meyer came in behind that with a 2-ball. So the theory is the defensive blocker goes up with the 1-ball, then lands on the ground while Meyer is slamming it. Very well set up play by Hersey.
Katsiouris, this time his hit ricochets off a couple of Huskies, and it's 17-12. Grenadiers down 5.
There's hope. They're only down 5.
That's nothing. Just a couple of breaks go your way, you're right back in it.
Yep, you get an ace, maybe a bad call, somebody in the net, all of a sudden, next thing you know.
Zagorski got blocked.
Yep,
there you go.
Yeah, you blocked somebody else.
Got some momentum.
Right. So it seems like when Hersey goes outside with the ball to the antennas, they get the point every time. But when they set the ball to anybody in the middle, Elk Grove has decent blocking in the middle and stops some of those.
Robles serve. And now miscommunication on the Hersey side. They recover. Almost got the point, but a quick thinking back line keeps it alive for the Grenadiers. Back to the outside. Zagorski's shot hits the net and deflects back towards the Husky side. 17-14. Grenadiers down just 3.
Hersey is suffering from inconsistency. For example, Zagorski got blocked and then hit that roll shot into the net, and then Meyer started the game with a serve off the court and a hit long. You got to hit all of them in. You have to stop hitting it out of the court.
A nice dig there, Mahoney. Valera kind of side swings it, but Nate Meyer was right there to take care of things. Hersey stops the Elk Grove run. They're back up 4, 18-14.
Yeah, Ortman with a good block. I don't think he was going to normally jump on that. It was a down ball, but it was too easy. It was just a roll right above the net. All he had to do was hop up and hit it.
Irwin serves right into the net, and right after a nice point from the Huskies, they give it right back. And Elk Grove's deficit back down to 3.
And Hersey feels that the deficit's only down to 3, and head coach Laura Gerber calls timeout to slow this down, get the same mental break, and ask her team, gosh, you guys, you outscored them by, 7 points in the first game. You outscored them 12 points after that 7-1 lead, and now you're only beating them by 3. What's up?
Yeah, I'd go out on a limb and say that across all sports that function with timeouts, I'd say maybe 15 to 25% of timeouts are to talk strategy, and the other 75 to 85 are just for a mental reset and trying to feel out your players, see where they are, get their minds right.
Yeah, and then there's a certain number of timeouts, like the water polo coach the other day when his team got beat like 23-6. One of the early timeouts, he was like bawling them out for not trying hard enough, and I'm like,
that's a little different.
Yeah, you're not trying hard enough. The other team just outclassed you by a couple, 2 or 3 different levels. There's nothing you're going to be able to do to beat them. No sense in getting mad at them, but learn along the way.
This season is a learning process for coaches as well as players here in the EGHS across all sports.
Yeah, but what an opportunity. I mean, 30 some odd different sports at these high schools?
Yeah, I went to a small private high school on the south side of Chicago. We only had about 7 or 8, I want to say. Go to a school like this, get to try out a bunch of different things. I could never have imagined playing volleyball in high school.
Well, and unfortunately in my case, we didn't even have boys volleyball in high school. So I played, basketball and baseball, and I sure would have loved to have played volleyball. And I sure blew it by not playing soccer. That was a mistake.
Okay, I played soccer. That was fun.
Yeah, I wish I did.
Elk Grove at the net. Valera stuffed. A couple players may have touched the net, but the referee calls play on.
Well, you might be right on that, but if the ball hits the net, there's really no way the ref can say, the player hit it and not the ball. So I think you're right. The ball probably did hit the net. Maybe a player did as well. But once the ball hits the net, that's it. You have to kind of leave the call. You can't make a net call. But still just a 3-point lead, and it's getting closer and closer to 25.
And you can see the Elk Grove fans really getting into it. Or by fans, I should say the JV team in attendance. Good to see them supporting their team. Scramble at the net. Hersey hits it off the divider up above the court, and Elk Grove takes advantage.
Yeah, I did not predict a close second game like this, but I got to tell you, I'm pulling for Elk Grove. I want to see game 3.
Another serve sends Hersey scrambling. Irwin has to bump it over the net. Now right there, Geraci
got tooled. It was a good block.
He was there, but couldn't keep the block in bounds, and Elk Grove, don't look now, they're down 1.
Yeah, and they got a lucky tool on that play.
Patel serves as Elk Grove tries to level the score. Right at the net, Siemens.
There's that 31 play that worked earlier. They ran it again into a double block, but They left the Elk Grove left a gap between the blocker's hands and the net. So right into that gap is where the ball went.
An excellent awareness there from Siemens to seek it out. Now Elk Grove elects to use their second timeout of the set.
Just down 2 points, so they have to be very, very happy with where they are. The thing is, though, even though they're happy with where they are and they are down 2 points, only 5 more points to go to win this game. So they might be happy where they're at here, and they're going to feel like they played pretty well against a decent Huskies team. But still, it's been Hersey that's controlled the entire destiny of this game.
They've been playing well down the stretch, but these are the moments that matter most. Can they get the last couple of points that see themselves through towards a third set?
Right, and what I want to see Elk Grove do is hit the ball hard, don't tip, but keep it in, serve in. Let's not lose points because you make an error like a missed serve or out of rotation or something like that. But hit it hard. Look for the Hersey hands. This is how you beat a team that's better than you. And Hersey, of course, will probably look for the go-to people, Zagorski, Meyer. See, that's not going to work. A free ball, and it did work. Unbelievable. Laura Gerber has every right.
Placed it perfectly, and Irwin couldn't knock it back with an outstretched arm. Elk Grove down 1. Libero
has to transition to the deep left side of the court like that, and that's, I'm sure, what Laura Gerber was upset about. That was an easy free ball. It just unfortunately was trying to cover the rest of the court, not his own spot.
Valera serves. This time Irwin in good position to return bump towards.
And that's out of bounds.
Krebs, and he knocks it long. Elk Grove, it's tied.
This is fun. Tied 20-20. Now, most teams will practice games up to 5 for this purpose. I'll say the score is 20-20. We're going to play a game up to 5 so that when you get into a game, you're prepared.
Valera's serve hits the net, but ricochets over. Meyer on the left side. He knocks that ball down with some force. Hersey back out in front.
Right. I think at this point in time, Hersey has to be on autopilot. Now, hopefully you've been enough of a diversified offense till now, an unpredictable offense until now. So now what you need is to go to your stars on the outside, which would be Zagorski and Meyer.
Head coach Laura Gerber off the bench right on the end line to give her team some strategical advice. Geraci across court tried to hit it into some open space, but a little too much power. Hersey 3 points away from a victory, 22-20.
I like the sub that they brought in, too. Jared Rigg, smaller in height at least, but probably one of those fast defensive players with a serve that you know isn't going to go off the court.
It's one of those reliable guys. Meyer tried to dink it over, but right into the net. Hersey able to recover. Elk Grove sets up. Roble at the net. Two-hander, and Rigg lays out to keep that play alive. Meyer knocks it right down.
Now that's why Rigg got into the game. He did cover that free ball, though he got there late too. He did cover it, and that was the difference between him covering it and Irwin not covering it earlier. And that was a huge play. If it's 22-21, it's a far different game than 23-20.
Just 2 points away are the Hersey Huskies. Scratch that one as Rigg comes up with an ace.
An ace
Game,
in the
set,
corner.
Match point.
Well, he didn't play long enough to give him MVP, but talk about a spark off the bench from Rigg.
Rigg serves once again from the right side. Tried to do the exact same thing, but couldn't place it well enough. 24-21 on the service error.
Well,
both teams go to their bench.
Yeah, now you got a spot where all you need is one side out on the next 3 plays, and the game is over, and you walk out of here with a win.
Elk Grove High School has to be really careful not to make that game-losing mistake.
So Rigg came in, he was the serving specialist for the middle, and Siemens is back in the game now, and then goes off the court for the libero.
Hersey on their own side. Valera. Now Roble at the net. It's free. A couple battles. Elk Grove could not finally get it over. Irwin leaves for Krebs, the lefty. His spike digged out.
That's shanked on the hit. He gets it back?
Into the bench. Right back onto the court, and Hersey keeps the play alive. That'll get some cheers from the Hersey fans. Geraci. Zagrevsky reached out. I think he kept that game from ending. That ball may have been out. But anyways, Hersey resets. Meyer from the left side runs into a wall. Right in front, it was Kwasny.
What a great rally.
Finally wins the point after one of the most entertaining rallies of this match.
And that happens all the time. Why is that rally not like that on every point all the way up until this point? Why is it that Elk Grove finally covers everything when the other team has 24 points?
It's because the stakes are too high.
That's
they
right.
Can't make that mistake.
Yeah, you make that mistake, you go home.
Jairo Mata back behind the service line. His serve hits the
Ace.
net.
That's not an ace.
And they didn't call an ace.
It hit the ground.
That ball looked like it hit the ground, but the referee called play on, and the Elk Grove High School bench is stunned. Hersey comes away with a 25-22 win in the second set, and they've taken this match from the Grenadiers 25-22.
Your terminology couldn't have been more perfect, that the bench was stunned. It was obvious that the ball hit the ground. Obviously, both refs missed it. And then one would think Elk Grove would just come up really, really upset, because especially that would have made the score 24-23, and then they get one more serve to try to tie it. But no, the referee misses it. Elk Grove stopped playing because they knew it hit the ground, but the ref never blew the whistle. So the lesson there is play to the whistle.
It's one of those mantras that goes across all sports. You got to play till you hear the whistle, and Elk Grove just assumed that point was over, but you just can't, even if that call was not correct.
Now, what I really like about this too is you can play this back. So just saying, right now this game was live streamed on. The way I find it is I go to Facebook and do a search on EGTV 6, and it's the first one up at the top. In the several days from now, not sure how many, it will also go up on the website egtv.vibit.com, and then you can download it, do anything you want with the game, play the highlights back, put that last play, and replay that. So this is Bob Vilsaway signing off with Ryan Zimmerman. Thanks to the crew, Scott Mayernick, Beth Clem, Ross Rowe, and Debbie Dennison. It's always a pleasure to be here to do these games for Elk Grove TV, and we look forward to the next one. Thanks, Ryan. You did a great job today. It was great to have you. Thanks for being here.
Thank you so much to all the viewers back home for tuning in, and we'll see you next time here from Elk Grove High School on EGTV 6.